Hi grade 11s, welcome to another finance lesson. Instead of buying on hire purchase or taking a long-term loan with a single repayment at the end of a time period from a bank to buy something, it is possible to take out a loan that is repaid on a monthly basis. So that is what we're going to be having a look at today, loans that are repaid monthly. Now let's have a look at our formula for that. Okay, our formula is as follows. Our P is equal to X, and then we're going to have two sets of brackets here. 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n, all over our I value again. Now let's have a look at the different variables. Now you already know what our I and our N are. They are the same as they always have been. Our interest rate and our time period, we've just got to check here because these are usually going to be per month, although they can sometimes be per quarter or half year. But generally we're going to working with months. Our P value, this one over here, this stands for the present value of the loan. Okay, so this is our present value formula. And then our X over here, that is your monthly repayment amount. So it's a little bit different from our compound interest and our simple interest formula, but remember that you will always be given the correct formula to use. But you do need to know that P stands for present value and X stands for your monthly amount. Okay, so let's do an example using this formula. Instead of taking a hire purchase agreement to buy an LCD television, Josh decides to take a loan from a bank. Okay, so he's going to buy a TV and he's borrowing the money from a bank. He can afford a monthly repayment of 650 Rand a month. Okay, so he can pay 650 Rand per month. And he wants to pay the loan off in 2.5 years. So he doesn't want to pay it too long, so he decides 2.5 years is long enough. The bank offers him a loan at 14.5% per annum, and that loan is compounded monthly. Okay, so there where you get your monthly coming in. How much will Josh be able to borrow? Okay, so we want to know how much can he borrow. In other words, what is the loan amount? Okay, so let's write the formula down and then see what our different values here are. Okay, so our formula is P equals X 1 minus 1 plus I to the negative n. You must be very careful when you're given this formula and you write it down that you go and put this down to the negative n. That's a very common error that people make. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. Our 650, this one over here is our X value. Our 2.5 years is going to be our n value, except we have to multiply it by 12. And this is our I value, which we have to divide by 12. Remember, the moment it's monthly, your number of time periods goes up and your percentage interest goes down, the percent that you actually pay. Okay, so let's substitute those values in. So we're going to have 650 goes here, 1 minus 1 plus. Now, your I value over here, because you have to divide it by 12, chances are it's not going to go in an exact amount. Let's quickly check that. So if you go 0.145 and we divide that by 12, let's see what we get. Okay, there's a fraction. Now, if you have a look here, you can see it's a recurring decimal. Now, you're not allowed to round this value off because then it's going to lead to inaccuracy. So in our calculator, we are going to put our 0.145 and we're going to divide that by 12. To make my brackets a bit bigger here. Okay, so all of that is at the top. and then we have to divide by our I value again. So at the bottom we're going to have 0,145 over 12 again. Okay, so now this is quite difficult to put into your calculator. Please make sure when you do it carefully. Okay, so watch. Okay, so we're going to start. We need a fraction. Okay, then you're going to go 650. You've got to open your bracket. You're going to go 1 minus. Now you need to open another bracket here. 1 plus. We need another fraction for our I value. So at the top you're going to have 0.145. And then at the bottom you're going to have your 12 to turn it into months. Now you must be careful here that you put your bracket correctly, that it goes at the end here. If your calculator gives you a syntax error, then you must go in and check to see where you've made a mistake with your bracket. And then we're going to raise that to the negative 2.5 years is 30 months. So we've got to raise it to the 30. Got to go sideways, and you have to close that bracket again. Okay, and then we go to the bottom. And we've got to need another fraction there for your 0.145 and over 12. And let's see how much he can borrow. He can borrow 16,275 Rand and 21 cents. Okay. 16,275 Rand and 21 cents. Okay, let's just look at that calculator again. Okay, so if you go to replay here, you can see exactly what you've put on. If you go to this side, there's your 650, your bracket, 1 minus, there's your second bracket. Okay, and you keep going sideways. It's always a good idea to check that you've put it in correctly into your calculator. There's your 2.5 years, which is 30 months, and then your I value at the bottom as well. Okay, so it definitely looks like we did put that in correctly. Okay, let's look at one more example. Okay, this is a fun example, something that I'm sure you would like to do, and you must maybe try this out. Pumi is planning a trip overseas and estimates that she will need 30,000 Rand. Okay, so she thinks that she is going to need 30,000 Rand for her trip. She can afford monthly repayments of 900 Rand a month. Okay, so she can pay 900 Rand per month. If she borrows the money at 13.8% per annum, and again it's compounded monthly, and she wants to repay the loan over 4 years, will she have enough money for her trip? Okay, so let's get our formula. Well, let's have a look first. We see this value over here is that is our final amount that we actually want. So this is in fact going to be our p-value. We need our p-value to be 30,000 Rand or more. Our 900 Rand is our x. Okay, so let's write that down. Our x is 900. Our I value is 0,138 divided by 12. And again, we can check to see whether that works out well or not. So 0.138 divided by 12. Remember, the calculator will always give it to you as a fraction. Okay, there's a fraction. Oh, right. Okay, that's a nice amount. So we can actually take this amount and put it into our calculator. So it's going to be 0,115. 0,0115. 0,0115. Okay, and our N value, she wants to pay it off in 4 years. So we've got to go 4 times 12 gives us 48 months. Okay, now we're ready to sub into our formula and calculate whether she's going to have enough. Okay, so P is equal to our X value, which is 900, 1 minus 1 plus our I value is 0,0115. Be careful you don't leave out that 0 there. And we've got to raise it to the negative 48 Remember to be careful with that as well. And then we're dividing that by 0,0115. A little bit easier to put into the calculator. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so it's 900. Open a bracket. Oh, we need a fraction first. Sorry, let's start again. Fraction button. 900. Open your bracket. 1 minus. Open another bracket. Now this is going to be 1.0115. Can add them in our head, that one. And we're raising it to the negative 48. Go sideways, close the bracket, and then we go to the denominator, and it's going to be 0.0115 there as well. And let's see what our answer is. Okay, so she's going to have 33,056 Rand and 33 cents. Remember, we must round off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so she's going to have 33,056 Rand and 33 cents. Now you must make sure that you've answered the question. The question just wasn't how much money she will have. The question was, will she have enough for her trip? Now, she needed 30,000 Rand for her trip. So you have to at the end there say, yes, she will have enough. If you don't write that, you are going to lose a mark. Okay. Right, your turn to do an example. Let's look at your example. Michael wants to buy a new car and he can afford payments of 1,900 Rand a month. Okay, so he can pay 1,900 Rand a month. The financial institution will charge him 9.9% per annum, and that again is compounded monthly. So it's compounded monthly. And he wants to pay the loan off over 6 years. If he has a 10,000 Rand deposit, here's a little twist to your question. If he has 10,000 Rand for deposit, what value car can he afford? So what price range can he look at? Okay, so he can pay 1,900 Rand, 9.9% per annum compounded monthly. He has to pay it off in 6 years, and he has a 10,000 Rand deposit. Okay, let's have a look at your answer. So what have we got here? Our X over here is going to be 1,900 Rand. So let's start with that one. So X is 1,600 Rand. I don't know if I made a mistake there just now. I'll just start the solution again. Let me just rub this out. Right, let's look at your solution. Okay, so the 1,900 Rand is the X amount. So we've got X equals 1,900 Rand. Our I value is going to be 0.099 divided by 12. Let's see if that's a good amount. 0.099 divided by 12. Let's see if that's a good amount. 0.099 divided by 12. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, that's a reasonable number to put in as well. So we're going to use that as our value. So it equals 0.00825. And then our N value is 6 years, so we've got to go 6 times 12, and that gives us 72 months. Remember, these two units always have, these two values always have to be in the same unit. So this is per month, and this is number of months. Okay, let's sub that into our formula. so our P value is going to be X, which is 1,900. Then this is 1 minus 1 plus 0,00825. Again, be careful that you haven't dropped a 0. And we're going to raise this to the negative 72. I didn't make this one square. Okay, then we're going to divide all of that by 0,00825. Okay, so let's see what that is. Okay, so fraction button first, 1,900, open bracket, 1 minus, open bracket, that's 1.00825, close the bracket, raise it to the negative 72, close bracket, go down to the bottom, 0.00825. I made a mistake there. Let's go back in there to 5. Okay, so that gives us so he's got 102,839 rand, 18. Okay, so let's see what that is. 102,839,18. But now remember, what else did he have? He's actually got 10,000 rand deposit. So in fact, he can look for a car that is 10,000 rand more than that. Okay, so therefore, he's got 112,839 rand and 18 cents for a car. Okay, join me again for the next lesson where we are going to be doing questions where we are going to be trying to find the value of X.